Welcome back to Morning Footy. Now, it is so close at the top of La Liga right now, with only a few points separating Barcelona and Real Madrid. These are their next few games that they have coming up. Nico, Charlie alongside me right now. Ooh, I mean, it's going to be a good end to the season, isn't it? Exciting stuff, Nico.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And I know Atletico Madrid, the odds are very against them, extremely against them. They picked up 3 points when Barça and Madrid dropped points this weekend. So don't rule them out officially, but with Barcelona and Real Madrid still fighting on other fronts, it could get spicy.
Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely, yeah. But it could get spicy.
But what I love is that these two will also play each other twice. So Copa del Rey final and in the league. And they got Champions League going on. So
a lot to balance.
A lot to balance.
Yeah, I mean, Opta are actually giving Barcelona an 88% chance of winning La Liga, right?
Wow.
Do you think that they can be caught up with, Charlie?
They absolutely could, but I think the way that they're playing right now with Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, as long as those two stay healthy and Lewandowski just absolutely scoring anything that falls to his feet in the box, it's going to be tough to beat this side.
There's this incredible spirit about Barcelona that I haven't seen since Messi's left. We haven't been talking about Barcelona like this since the departure of Lionel Messi. And I'm not saying that this Barça team is like the Messi teams, but there was like a mourning at Barcelona after Messi's departure and them trying to find their bearings as a club. Who are they without Messi? And through Hansi Flick, they went through Xavi. They won a Liga, but didn't feel like they were dominating like they are dominating now, not only domestically, but in Europe as well. They were playing Europa League with Xavi, and they were finishing in third place in group stages. Now they're showing that they're amongst they're the best team in Europe, basically.
When I think about that, who in your mind has been the most impressive player, surprisingly, for Barca this season?
Rafinha. Yeah, gotta be Rafinha. We didn't have him as a Ballon d'Or candidate. They wanted him out of the club. They were going for Nico Williams, if you remember at the beginning of the season. But that's the easy answer. There are so many players that have stepped up. De Jong has stepped up.
Yeah, Pedri.
Pedri is back he's the best form of his career right now.
Okay, so if Barcelona win La Liga and the Copa del Rey, is there going to be a changing of the guard happening? Will they kind of take over? Because they've been so impressive, but obviously Real Madrid, it's been them for years. The talk has constantly been about Real Madrid. Will this be a new era potentially for Barcelona with all the talent and the youngsters as well that they've got in that side?
I wouldn't go that far, Nicole, because just as Barca are kind of reestablishing themselves in La Liga and in world football, I think Real Madrid will move on from Ancelotti and say thank you so much for everything that you've given the club. And then Xabi Alonso most likely comes into the picture. And we all know what Xabi Alonso is capable of as a young manager who's really just finding his feet at the elite stage. So I think they will also continue to move forward. And I don't know if Vinny Jr. stays. We do know what Mbappe and Jude Bellingham aren't going anywhere.
Things can change for Real Madrid. And we've seen time and time again that when things change at Real Madrid, they know how to reinvent themselves. But hold up, when we say changing of the guard, you said La Liga and Copa del Rey. If you look at the last 10 years, Real Madrid hasn't been as dominant as Barcelona domestically. Changing of the guard is in Europe, but we're talking about winning the Champions League. Yes, it could potentially be a changing of the guard, because Real Madrid have been the kings more often than not in the Champions League rather than domestically. Yes, they won La Liga last season, but the season before, Xavi was winning La Liga with Barcelona. So it's not like domestically Barcelona lost their grip. They've constantly been in the conversation. If they win the triplete, though, Copa, Liga, Champions, that is sending a message that there is an era to be established. There's potential for them to... We've got something really good going on that can be established for seasons to come.
Yeah, speaking of Real Madrid, that leads us to our Geico Get More. So where do Ancelotti and Real Madrid go from here, guys? Deep breath out, Charlie.
Yeah, they need to come back.
Yeah.
You can't be the defending Champions League winners, add Mbappe, and lose in this fashion. So I expect them to come with the most aggression, and I know injuries have been a big problem for them, but the midfield hasn't been set. They have no Camavinga, and when Lucas Vazquez plays right back, it is detrimental.
And he's going to play right back, by the way.
Yeah, detrimental. That is the biggest weakness that Real Madrid have. So, all in all, Real Madrid have to turn this around. Otherwise, this will be the last season that we see Ancelotti at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of moments here that explains the downfall of Real Madrid from a functionality perspective. They could play poorly and still go through to the next round and have another epic performance, right? That's what Madrid is. Carvajal doing his ACL and them not replacing him in the transfer window, right? Mm-hmm. That's a big one. And then there's no depth in the center back position, so you can't really shuffle. Alaba has not been it this season. He's coming back from injury. So you literally only have Rudiger and Asensio. Asensio's not going to play right back because then you don't have another center back to put in there, right? So you have to play Lucas Vazquez.
Or they tried Valverde.
And Valverde was good, but you lose so much of Valverde further up the field. So it was very evident in the first leg. So put Valverde in the midfield. You have to play Vazquez, but there was never a replacement for Toni Kroos. And the guy that closest got to being that guy that gave Madrid the order was Dani Ceballos. And when he got injured, Madrid lost a little bit of that composure in the build-up, in control of games. And we went back to relying on the front four, front three to figure out games by themselves. And they can do it sometimes, but sometimes, like against Arsenal, they couldn't. So we're going to have to see Madrid's best performance
of the season
with a couple of players that there's just massive question marks around, including very blatant, very glaringly, Lucas Vazquez and in the midfield.
So who will get the blame then if Real Madrid don't win something big this season? Because it can't just be on Carlo Ancelotti, surely.
It will be. It will be.
It will be.
He's a scapegoat. He's a scapegoat for this.
But all in all, you look at Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, and how that did not work. Vinny and Mbappe as your two goal scorers. And Vinny hasn't played to his level this season yet. I know when Mbappe has come in, he's scored the goals. You still feel like he hasn't even come close to his ceiling with this group. But Vinny Jr. is the one I look at when I'm watching them play. He always plays like he's on an island, and they haven't got the most out of him.
Especially after the whole not getting the Ballon d'Or, that ordeal really felt like it took almost a psychological toll because he tweeted out, I'm going to come back 10 times stronger, and he didn't. He's having a poor season for his standards. In fact, Mbappe's numbers already this season, probably even from a month ago, are better than any season that Vinicius Jr. has put together. But numbers are numbers. Mm-hmm. There's also performances in big moments. And Mbappe, you bring him in to perform in the big moments, to have an epic comeback. Yeah, sure, he scored against Manchester City, and that was great. Do you think Real Madrid cares about a knockout stage before the round of 16 of the Champions League? Of course not. He needs to score he needs to score in this comeback. And then that's not going to be enough. He needs to then score in the semifinal. And then that's not going to be enough. He needs to score in the finals. There's level to this. And Real Madrid are at 2 strikes right now, and they could swing for a third.